They were the first ones to develop a plastic blower. Going to a full composite blower, we were the first ones to do that. And that was a very shaky proposition to outdoor power, because at that time, everybody thought everything had to be steel. There was nothing, if it's not steel, I don't want it.
Wow.
So they ended up developing the force blower, which was all plastic housing, plastic impeller. And since then, they have completely taken over that market because it's so much lighter to use, has so much better performance, easier to throw in and out of the back of the truck. Like, it has become the machine for wheeled blowers.
That's Brandon Keene from BillyGoat, our special guest on today's show. I'm Mr. Producer, thanking you for listening to, following, rating, and reviewing Fullerton Unfiltered. Now, this is going to be a fun interview, super informative as well. And if you do fall cleanups, you're not going to want to miss the conversation. By the way, are you heading to this year's Equip? If so, make sure and stop by the BillyGoat area to see the new Leaf Dragon leaf loader that you're going to be learning about on today's podcast. Let's get to it.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Brian, how we doing?
Hey, Brandon, doing good, brother. How are you?
Oh, doing fantastic. I'm sitting in my office. We're going to close up a little early this afternoon for the Labor Day weekend. So
yeah,
I'm basically one of the few guys left.
I know.
Everybody else is already taken off and hit the bar.
You know, it's funny. I was just thinking about this earlier. I'm like, you know what? It's Friday. I wonder if he's going to be ducking out early to, enjoy the weekend, for crying out loud.
Yeah, well, that's just pretty typical around here on holiday weekend. It's one of the few things left over from being a small family-run company.
Yep.
Things like Fun Day, Christmas parties, and taking off early for holiday weekends are still the norm around here. So that's kind of nice.
That's cool. Yeah, and I saw this on Instagram once, or I don't even know, or maybe it was a motivational speaker guy, but he said, TGIF, the grind includes Friday. And, I'm sure you've heard that one before too. And it's like, it just reminds me like, hey, just put in till 4 or 5 o'clock on Friday. Don't duck out early. And here you and I are recording this podcast on a Friday. And I'm like, I think we're the only two people probably in America still working, but it's
for all you know, I may be sitting in a bar. You don't know that.
Yeah, right. You already got a cold one popped and you're ready to go to the state fair, So
one of the benefits of working from home is that no management ever knows where any of their employees are at any given time.
Well, it's funny you say that, because you never know who's wearing a T-shirt on a Zoom and who's wearing nothing but underoos underneath. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Just how.
Exactly.
Welcome to the COVID era, right, folks? So,
right.
Well,
exactly.
I don't think we're going to be talking about whether we're wearing clothes or not on this podcast. That's a whole other conversation for a whole other, or whether Brandon's here at the state fair and about to enjoy time with his family. But what we are going to be talking about on this podcast, guys, is the Leaf Dragon and some really cool latest and greatest coming out from BillyGoat. Now, full disclaimer, because I'm a big do things by the rule kind of a guy. Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, hashtag whatever else I'm supposed to say these days, Brandon, with the FTC, right? Long story short, we got a great partnership going on this fall with BillyGoat. They're going to be sponsoring some YouTube content and also some fall winter shop tours. There's going to be so much more to come. So I'm not sure exactly when this podcast is coming out, but what I will tell you guys is on YouTube here, very shortly hereafter, you guys will be able to see a really cool reveal of the product we're going to be talking about on the podcast. You'll be able to see it in real life on YouTube with the video that we're going to be showing. And there's so much cool innovation coming from BillyGoat. And I'll tell you guys what. Hashtag sponsored, hashtag ad or not, BillyGoat is one of my favorite companies to work with. I love the folks behind the scenes. I get to talk to Gail. She's my contact over there. She's an amazing person. A lot of you guys know Rich Clark. He used to work at BillyGoat back in the day. He's a really, really awesome dude. Still friends of mine. He helped educate me so much on so many different product lines from BillyGoat for the couple years I got to work with him. And a lot of you guys probably already know the name and probably use half their dang products anyway. So there's some conversations, Brandon and I have with different guests, and I'm like, well, let's kind of muscle through this one, hashtag sponsored. And there's other ones where I'm like, No, I'm actually looking forward to this call. This is definitely I'm looking forward to this call and this conversation. So let's do this really quick. Let's back up the train for just a quick second. I want to get we call it on the podcast, Brandon, like the highlight reel or just kind of like the stats, if you will. So what's your background? I know you work at BillyGoat and you do a lot with the product line that we're going to be talking about today. But what's your background? Who is BillyGoat? And we'll kind of break some things down here.
Oh, sure. So as far as myself, I've been outdoor power guy for coming up on 26 years now.
Okay.
I started at the ripe age of 13 years old, working for my great uncle, who started a lawn and landscape company back in the mid 80s in the Kansas City area.
Okay.
Mainly commercial cutters and application is what I started out doing. I fell in love with the industry, as most people do at a young age. When you start in this industry, it's very hard to want to walk away from it. I did go to college, go get my mechanical engineering degree. And somewhere along the lines of being in college, I realized, you know what? I love outdoor power enough. I'm going to try to find my way back into the manufacturing side, find my way into the design side, and start putting a lot of that experience of running the equipment, working on the equipment, and being out there doing the grind every day into the design and being a part of developing products back for the people who I used to be. So I left college, went to go work for the Aaron's Company in Auburn, Nebraska, which was the OEM side. Did a lot of work with John Deere, did a lot of work with Husqvarna. Rapid. There was a lot of OEM contracts we had up there.
Sure.
Did that for 7 years as a designer. Did 7 years there. Came to BillyGoat in 2015, which was coming back home from Kansas City originally. So I was happy to find a way back home and to stay in the industry that I love so much. But most of my focus at that time had been so much around commercial mowing. So walking into the chore world of all those unique products that come in the BillyGoat portfolio was very, very eye-opening. And the first thing that probably hit me the most was that, wow, every one of the products that they develop, it does what it says on the box. Like, that was very shocking to me. It's like, oh my God, it says it does this. No, it really does this.
Wow.
Because there were so many products that I'd used in the past that were like, oh, it's a sod cutter. This thing's a pain. It doesn't work. Or you're fighting it half the time. Or here's an old Renovator, Verticutter, whatever, and it's a pain to use. It doesn't do a very good job, yada, yada, yada. But everything that I got trained very quickly. And that's very indicative of the culture of BillyGoat is everybody from like marketing to operations to engineering, everybody knows how to demo, knows how to speak about the product. Like, everybody lives and breathes the features, the benefits, the productivity, the ease of use, clean up your world. Like, we live and breathe, take the chore out of chore. So that's part of BillyGoat that I recognized that very, very quickly, and I got sucked in. I'm like, okay, this is super exciting. So got to go through and do design projects on like the PL2501 aerator, going through the auger and the sod cutter, stuff like that. We entered into the spreader sprayer realm recently. The Leaf Dragon, which started like 3 years ago, was actually, I was caught in the transition between engineering and coming into product management. So it's one of the first big BillyGoat products that I've got to be kind of product manager for. It was a little ways through its development when I transitioned out of engineering, coming to be the product manager. And so we've kind of taken the ball and run from there to get this thing to production. But it's been a lot of fun. This launch has been exciting already, and it's only been out in the field maybe a few weeks now.
Yeah,
we've had a couple of them running around, doing some towing shows and getting dealers excited, getting contractors excited. And the feedback, I'm getting calls from the sales guys like 5-6 times a day, towing this thing around the Northeast, and like the response is overwhelming. A lot of them are saying, I saw a picture of it and it doesn't do it justice. The picture of that machine on a piece of paper doesn't tell you anything about this thing is impressive. This thing is massive.
Yeah.
So it's been so far just a good, exciting launch, and having this podcast here is just another nice piece to get some information out about it. So,
well, I'll tell you what, I'm excited about spilling the beans with you. World premiere. No, I'm just kidding. But it's funny. There's so many things that you want to unpack, or that you just said that I wanted to unpackage. One thing first, I have to. I'd probably save face with maybe Gail, who proofs this podcast. I don't know, but with just BillyGoat in general, because as a social media influencer, which I hate saying that term, I'm not a social media influencer. I hate using that term. However, anybody from the outside looking in, from anybody, is going to be, oh, that's your guy. That's the social media influencer. That's just what they do. Now, that being said, what are we always looking for? The latest and greatest, the niche thing, the new thing. And so, quick story for you guys. This was, my gosh, probably a year ago. And Brandon, I don't know if you heard all this, or if you went, you were behind the scenes watching this unfold, but I went to my local dealer Weingart's, and I was shopping for a P2000 stand-on BillyGoat leaf blower, the one that I picked up this spring of 2022. Well, I was looking at some stuff on the floor. I didn't end up picking up one up last fall, but while I was there, my sales guy, Ted, and probably should have left his name out, but he goes, dude, you want to see something cool? You got to come check this thing out. So I'm like, I got 5 minutes, like, pray tell. So we go in the back warehouse. Weingart's is a huge dealer up here in Farmington Hills, Michigan. It's my go-to dealer. And he's got what is now called the Leaf Dragon. Well, back then it was like just green paint, no stickers, no decals. It was BillyGoat, but it was like you said, an under the radar unit. It hadn't been released just yet. So as a social media influencer guy and wanting the latest and greatest and the first to market, what do? Well, you snap a bunch of damn photos of this thing and you plaster all over Instagram and Facebook. Well, I didn't know that this thing was like top secret, shouldn't have been out there just yet, yada, yada, yada. Any which way, I posted on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, and it gets because nobody had seen anything like this, and it's a monster. We're going to go into it here in a minute, but it's a monster, and it gets thousands of likes on Instagram, thousands of likes on Facebook, hundreds and hundreds of shares and all this, and saves, and all this other mess. And I'm thinking, dude, awesome post. I'm growing that whole mill, right? Well, then I get a phone call from Gail, who's my girl, and she's like, hey, and she says it so tactfully, Brandon, you already know how this goes, but it was, hey, appreciate your excitement and your overzealousness, but you need to take that down. and I go, why? And she goes, well, that's not out yet. And I go, and I'm thinking to myself, not my problem, and so I'm stuck in this rock in a hard place of like this thing that's really performing well and this thing that's like top secret. So of course I take the post down, and then I got people messaging me, hey dude, I saw this post of this thing. I'm trying to like shop for it. What was that? And I'm like, talk about what? You didn't see nothing here. Like
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no picture. It didn't happen, pal. Picture didn't happen.
I'm like the penguins from Madagascar. You didn't see anything. You know what I mean? So I was aware of all that going down. Yeah, that caused a little bit of an internal mess. We're like, oh no, because so we're very diligent in development of new products, right? So sure.
We'll go to the level of that was a year before it was ready to launch, kind of at the design validation state of that product. Mm-hmm. And we don't just sit on our laurels and be like, yep, we got it right. No, when we're at that point, it's like, all right, time to go put this thing in front of customers and make sure everything that we picked up on the initial voice of customer, we delivered on. And every time we do this, we find even more little tricks and things that are just asked for, like little small requests that just continue to make this machine do exactly what we say it does. So those machines went out last fall to a couple select dealerships to hunt down a couple contractors, and we put them through a fall leaf cleanup season kind of under the radar. Wow. Yeah, there was some fall testing done last year in Weingart's, and I believe there was we had some in the Virginia area as well, that those machines went out and went through hands of customers and got feedback and comparative testing and how's it handling? How do you like this? How do you like this? Looking for those final details and make sure this thing is right a year before it's ready to launch, so we have time to react if there's something that needs to be fine-tuned that we as an internal team just can't come up with. We don't have, especially on large debris loaders, like Kansas City's a leaf market, but not like what the Northeast is, Upper Michigan, areas like that.
Sure.
We don't have that. That's not just next door. So we have to go out and take these machines out into heavy leaf country and make sure that they can handle what they're going to see out there, because it's not the same here in the middle of the country where we're developing these machines. So, that's something we do in just due diligence of developing new products. We absolutely will do.
And that's something that I've definitely come to appreciate and learn from some of the different companies that I have had the conversations with and the opportunity to work with, from the X-Marks, the Toros, the Cub Cadets, the Husqvarnas. Some companies, they do what you just said that you guys do, and other companies, I just don't feel like they have. And you can quickly tell the who's who by the product that comes out. Really quick, Brandon, I want to like downshift a gear really quick, because as we're going to talk about the Leaf Dragon here in just a quick minute, but there's a lot of new people that listen to our show, a lot of new people that listen to the podcast, a lot of new people getting into the industry. And I heard somebody say, this is actually a really good Instagram reel. It was one of these like motivational slick ones with some really cool music in the background. And somebody basically, I forget the question that the guy had asked, but he basically said like, how do you keep yourself humble? And the guy that they were interviewing was, I think, if not a 9-figure individual, he was worth a couple $1 billion. And the guy said, if you go into a room and you everybody goes in a circle and introduces themselves, and then you don't, and you just start talking, assuming like everybody knows who you are, then that's how you know that you've lost your humility and your humbleness about you. And I said, dang, that's good stuff. Because if you guys ever listen to when we start a podcast show, or if I'm ever on a podcast, and I'm not saying I'm like the most humble or humility person. I'm not trying to self-edify, but I don't start a show or end a show without saying like, hey, here's my story. Hey, here's who I am. Please give me a follow, because I'm still learning and growing too. And so that being said, let's take it back to just a quick humble conversation about who BillyGoat is, because so many people are getting in the industry. They might not know the whole BillyGoat story. And, we don't have to go back to, 1939 when you guys are incepted necessarily, but talk to me for just a candid second. What are you guys known for? What product are you making? The guy that listens to the show, he's a lawn and landscape, a business owner. He's mowing grass. He's going to get into, leaf cleanups. He's doing turf renovation. What is BillyGoat? Who are you guys? What are you putting together?
So it's interesting. You said 1939. The date's actually 1969.
Hey, there you go.
We started out with one product, which was our vacuum, lawn and litter vacuum.
Okay.
It originally was a failed concrete dust vacuum that got repurposed into outdoor power equipment because it could suck up leaves and debris. That started kind of the BillyGoat company under the Coates family, and Mort Platt was a partner. They started the business. It became a family-run company from 1969 all the way up until it was sold to Briggs & Stratton in, I believe, 2014. So VAX is what got them started, debris management with impellers, debris processing equipment, which spiraled into blowers and then also spiraled into truck loaders. So that was kind of their core three categories for a very long time, all the way up from probably from 1969 up into, say, the early 90s.
Okay.
I would say all they did was they were absorbed halfway through the year, made money halfway through the year in the fall season, and then just lost it. They didn't have anything else going on. There was a little bit of spring cleanup, but there wasn't a real diversified portfolio.
Okay.
Well, the second generation of family comes in and decide, all right, we need to diversify this portfolio a little bit wider, and we need to be able to absorb this factory so we can keep this thing running year round, keep full-time employees, keep everybody here, keep everybody happy, make money. Mm-hmm. So they started getting out into, all right, let's attack renovation. So they started into overseeders, rakes, and I believe a brush cutter. So specialty mowing is what they started getting into. And in those categories, we've been there long enough now that we started to become kind of the installed base and rental on some of those base categories. But as we moved into the 2000s, they started becoming a little bit more experimental. They were the first ones to develop a plastic blower. Going to a full composite blower. We were the first ones to do that. And that was a very shaky proposition to outdoor power, because at that time, everybody thought everything had to be steel. There was nothing, if it's not steel, I don't want it.
Wow.
So they ended up developing the force blower, which was all plastic housing, plastic impeller. And since then, they have completely taken over that market because it's so much lighter to use, has so much better performance, easier to throw in and out of the back of the truck. Like, it has become the machine for wheeled blowers. Then they started trying to innovate into the rest of the renovation category, into self-propelled drives, getting into reciprocating aeration, getting into sod cutting. They acquired the Plugger brand back in, I think, 2014 or whatever, which also added a reciprocating aerator to the mix. And we just continue to diversify. And in reality, what it all falls under this giant umbrella of take the chore out of the chore and clean up your world. And when I say clean up your world, it doesn't mean just make a mess go away. It could mean make really bad looking grass look good.
Yeah.
Like that renovation falls into clean up your world if you think about it like that as well. So it's clean up in all seasons, multi-channel, global products. We're sold all over the world. And it's almost like if it helps make things look nicer, helps clean up messes, we're in. We want to be a part of that. And we're applying kind of our formula everywhere we can get our hands on it.
Ready to charge up your business and take it to the next level? Well, plug in and join us for Lawntrepreneur Academy Live 2022. Don't miss this electrifying opportunity to hear from our top industry professionals. Get powered up in this high-energy atmosphere, learning trade industry knowledge and ways to level up your thinking. This high-energy teaching and networking event is full of motivational information, giveaways, and trade industry secrets. Take charge and register now for the industry's largest training event of the year, L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2022.
All around, it's just a great experience.
I didn't realize how important that LAL is.
You get more than you spend at for a 4-year degree.
Man, I can't wait. This has been a great event, and I will definitely be back next year.
Take charge and register now.
Entrepreneur Academy Live is Saturday, November 12th in Novi, Michigan. Get your tickets now for the early bird price of $197. The price goes up at the end of September. The link to register is in the podcast description.
I'll tell you what, like that's such a romanticized story of like another American manufacturing success story. Like it's so cool, and right in the the heartland Kansas City over there that you guys are putting all this together. It's and it's really interesting too to personalize it to me and my story, because I can totally relate with so many people listening to the show. Like when I first walked into my dealer Weingarts, I don't just plug them to plug them. They're just they become friends and family of mine. Dan Weingarts and Ron and all these different guys that are there. Like they're family. They've helped me make a 6-figure plus business for almost 20 years. It's like hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars generated and made over the years. And I'm thinking to myself, BillyGoat's been there the whole time. Like I forget the exact SKUs, but I know like the F18 is the big one all the way down to maybe like an F9 or something. But the orange plastic housing, walk behind.
Blowers.
Yeah, the blowers. Those have
Force blowers.
yeah, those have been there since I can remember, since day one. And I'm always thinking to myself, man, one day I wanted to get one of those, and one day like it'd be awesome to have one of those on a little makeshift dolly type thing that we could hook up to a zero turn or something. And then seeing the evolution of the product lines, including the debris loaders. Like one day, I'm telling you guys, like, I'm not just a fanboy. One day I was like, I can't wait to afford a BillyGoat debris loader. And 2 or 3 seasons ago now, I think it was 2 seasons ago now, we picked up the 18-horse debris loader, put that on the trailer tongue of our SureTrack trailer, built the leaf box, and we do pretty well with leaf cleanups now. I mean, it's crazy the capacity that thing opened up. And I was looking at the Z3K and the X3K stand-on leaf blowers. They're a little much for my size business. Now, extremely popular all over the country, and not only in the landscaping industry, but also for the asphalt guys, the concrete guys, the municipality folks. You're seeing more of these stand-on leaf blowers pop up everywhere. But I was like, well, do I want to push one? No, I hate pushing stuff, especially in the fall when it gets wet and muddy. So I was like, I don't know if I want an F18 or F14 or whatever those things are. But I was like, there's got to be a middle. And then lo and behold, like, I think it was 12 months later, Gail's like, hey, we got this thing coming out. Would you like to test one and do a demo and help us create some content on YouTube? And I was like, oh my God, pray tell, because it's a so anyway, I sound like a fanboy, but because I am, but I don't care. I love the product. The P2000 was a perfect leaf blower for us, and we bought one this spring. It was, I don't know, like $8,500 with the show special, or today's money's probably $20,000 with inflation. But just funny how that works. Like, Brandon, all the time I'm having conversations with guys like, hey, I don't know about buying this piece of equipment. I'm like, this is the only time I could literally tell you, buy something. If you don't like it, 6 months later, sell it, and you'll make more money. So
exactly, it's a really good way to approach new equipment right now.
There's your new selling techniques. For anybody who works selling equipment in life. Hey, if you don't like it, don't worry about it. Sell it 6 months from now, and you don't need a demo. You just need to buy it and then go sell it. That's your demo, But
there you go.
But the P2K has fit perfectly for us with stand-on leaf blowers to maximize our productivity and profitability with our spring and fall cleanups. Now, that goes right into the whole conversation about the leaf dragon to bring it full circle, because when we're talking about making money with leaves, from the plain states to the Midwest to especially the Northeast, you have a limited amount of time to get that leaf revenue in, to get that fall cleanup work done. And so many of you guys know up here in Michigan, for example, I used to say all the time, we try to have all of our leaf work done by Thanksgiving. Does it always happen? Gosh, no. I think 2 years ago, we were doing leaf cleanups until literally Christmas week, which was insane. It was awesome. It was all extra credit. It was making more money. And every extra day we're out there, we're making $500 to $1,500 a day. Just depends on the day. Now, that being said, The bottleneck is always sucking up the dang leaves, getting rid of the debris, having the production that goes with leaf cleanups, because it is a lot of work. And so, Brendan, I guess just a soft serve to you with the Leaf Dragon. What is it? Who is it for? Tell me a little bit about this thing, because based on the reception from those Instagram posts and those Facebook posts, it seems like you guys are going to have a breakout product.
So this is really kind of getting at the heart of the labor issue that's out there today, as well as it kind of tries to attack the large stand-on blower is capable of replacing so many guys with backpacks. So now you're starting to move a massive amount of leaves out to the curb. Well, that's all fine and great, but how do I get those sucked up faster?
Sure.
Because I'm starting to pile up leaves at an alarmingly high rate with these large stand-on blowers. I now need a debris loader that is capable of moving what's coming at me.
Yeah.
And like our existing DL37s and our existing DL18s, they can get the job done. But how do I get going faster? The same amount of labor I once did, I got to keep moving quickly. I got a lot of work to get done in a very short amount of time. So enter the Leaf Dragon, right? So you're a 37 horsepower EFI powered by Vanguard debris loader. That's going to get you 25% better fuel savings. The nicest thing is the start. Cold mornings in the fall, you want to make sure that engine starts out of carburetor, so the fuel injection is going to make that start nice and easy. It is belt drive, which we have been asked for a very, very long time, and historically, way back when we used to actually build side-by-side belt-driven debris loaders, we stopped. Now we've kind of come full circle. It's like, no, maybe the belt was the right idea. So You put the belt in there because inevitably a machine of this size is going to suck something up that's probably it shouldn't have sucked up. And if it's rigid enough, it can stall that impeller, and you don't want a crankshaft breaking. So you put the belt in there, and that becomes the safety fuse for sucking up something that I probably shouldn't have.
Sure.
Going through what that thing is spinning, that's a 2-inch shaft that's spinning a 25-inch armor-plated diameter, or 25-inch diameter armor-plated impeller, and it's producing 6,900 CFM of suction. So if you remember the large hurricane blower pushes 7,500 out the door. So now we're sucking almost 7,000 back in.
Wow.
So what's coming out is coming in. That's kind of becoming the theory behind this machine. So you got a 16-inch intake and a 12-inch exit, 12-inch diameter exit on this. And the beautiful thing about how the whole suction and exit of this design is we try to remove as many of the sharp angles as possible.
Yes.
Because anytime you stick a sharp angle on a debris loader, it's a wear point. So the whole thing is turned sideways to where the hose faces the curb. That gets rid of turning a sharp corner coming into the debris loader. So I'm true curb side mounted. I go straight in, and then the elbow has no 90-degree corners in it. It's as soft of an angle as we can make to help extend out the wear on that elbow.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole just kind of the shape of it is what gives it its longevity just by design. And it kind of, from the way it started looking, it got its name from that design. Because like you're staring at it, looking at it, I think it was Pierre, the sales guy's like, it looks like a dragon.
Yeah.
From its shape. Like, you're right. We should probably run with that. So that kind of became the genesis of the Leaf Dragon name, and the logo that was put up on the side of it was like, let's have fun with this. It's the flagship debris loader. We're a market leader in debris loaders. We've never done one this size. We've never played in this space, but we have all the knowledge to do it. So you end up with a dragon head that's got goat horns sticking off the side of it, blowing out flame-colored leaves, which is just getting a lot of attention from the guys towing them around. There's been a lot of comments about how cool that turned out, and that's just kind of intimidating and gives the machine some character.
I love it.
So that's a really cool piece of it. Well, but then you get into what BillyGoat talks about, making things easier. So we address the longevity kind of by design, but you look at the operator handle, that it's ambidextrous. Like I can hold it on the left, I can hold it in the middle. Like other debris loaders you'll play with out there may only have a handle mounted on one side, so it doesn't necessarily hit all the different range of how you're going to want to hold this. And sometimes I've seen guys hold them this way, that way, this way, that way. It's like you got to have variability for people to be able to handle that hose and be comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. The multi-position boom is nice. So transport lock, so the hose can stay on during transport. But then it's also got a straightaway lock. So if I just want to lock it straight out there facing the curb and rake everything to it, it won't move on me. I can just lock it out there. It'll stay there. And then it also has a rearward facing lock. So if I cared about locking it behind it and wanted to just drag it while it's going, that you could do that too. So there's a little bit of flexibility in making sure that hose can stay in a fixed position if I don't want to just carry it around and drag it to the pile.
Wow.
But then you get into the door. This is what has been getting a lot of feedback from the field right now is these machines will clog. Like you're going to suck up things you shouldn't, and it's going to get in there and it can jam up the impeller. Against other machines that are out there, like you're going to be taking tools to get that door off, to access into the impeller, to get whatever's clogged in there out or whatever's jammed up out. So our design has 2 pins on it, and it's got all the safety switches on it to make sure that you don't hurt yourself or run it without this door on there. But those 2 pins, you have that door off in 10 seconds.
Wow.
And you can access the impeller, get in there, clear clog, and it also will help people keep inspecting your liner. You know, the liner that's in there wears over time, and the last thing you want to have happen is that liner come apart and go into the impeller. So if it only takes 10 seconds, take a quick look. That's awesome.
Wow.
You know, that helps people keep an eye on looking inside that machine. Make it easy. The other thing that we did on the impeller side of it, I don't know if I brought it up earlier, but it does have a keyless locking hub, something that we know happens on especially direct drive impellers. They're keyed. Over time, that all corrodes, rusts, and gets seized on there. So when it comes time to replacing the impeller, it makes it very difficult. So we went with the keyless locking hub. There's no key to seize.
Okay.
So these will come back off. Like when it is time to replace that impeller, because everything in there is just taking a beating, when it's time to replace that impeller, you can do it. You know, that keyless locking hub enables that to come off easily. The key is what causes it to become seized on there. So
okay.
we did that design. It's a much more expensive way of doing it, but it's much better for the life of the machine when it comes to replacing that impeller serviceability there. So
wow. Not to interrupt, but I got to say the door that can swing out, the toolless access, that's insane. Like you should, a quick suggestion, here's some public feedback, right? Here you go, is try to like scale that to every other debris loader unit, because I love our 18, but sometimes we're sucking up the wet stuff. You know, things clog, like you said, it's just the nature of all debris loaders. And, but you know, we got to take off the hose. And I'm like, man, like there should be a door or a hatch or whatever. And my guys were saying the same thing, because we got buried on this huge spring cleanup for this massive overhaul renovation for a property, for actually my mom's property, for a house that she has, and we were sucking up sticks and twigs and mud, and we were getting snow and rain. It's spring in Michigan, okay, folks. That's just how it is. But I'm looking at the sell sheet here that you guys have, that just the media kit, the flyer that you guys will get at the dealers, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, that is worth thousands of dollars. Like I will pay you $1,000 right now to go retrofit mine with that door. That's insane. That's it's easy to fanboy over somebody who makes great product. I mean, it's like you guys you've put it through the ringers. You can tell that it's thoughtful, it's thought out. There hasn't been a BillyGoat product that I use where I'm like, yeah, I don't really know, not for me. Like, you know, sponsored or not, like I'm not just going to promote stuff that's junk. We're so beyond that. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to sell my soul for $1 bill. Okay. When we look at this stuff here, I'm like, this is smart. This will sell. And the conversation we were getting on Instagram and Facebook, I think that Instagram post had like well over 100 comments saying this is insane. Everybody's tagging their buddy. And I liked what you had said earlier, Brandon. You had said that we're moving so much more leaves to the curb, we have to find a way to suck these things up. And that is a real conversation, because people ask me all the time, 18 horse, 25 horse, 37 horse, and really the tubes, you know, an 8-inch, a 10-inch, a 12-inch, or whatever inch, you know, intake. That is a tough question, because unless you have like a dump trailer with a leaf box, it's hard to keep up capacity with stuff like that. That's a quick question I just have for you. That's one that I'm thinking out loud. Like, not to find fault, but if I'm thinking, hey, this is a tow behind unit. It might be for a medium-sized company or above, two crews and above, because you got the mow rig with the leaf blowers and the vacuum mowers. And then you've got this other one that's going to be pulling maybe the leaf dragon. And then I would imagine a dump box, a leaf box on the back of a dump truck or dump trailer. What have you guys noticed out there? How are people utilizing this thing? Who is it for? What kind of results are out there happening with this machine right now?
So that's fun. It's fun that you bring that up. So I told you last fall we were out trying to get these things running in leaf country, right, during fall season. And we quickly realized that holy crap, guys are used to using a BillyGoat debris loader that's direct mounted, and they've got it mounted to all kinds of just cab over boxes or whatever they've got going out there, and they see this thing like, how in the world am I going to hook that to my existing rig?
Sure.
Well, what it is for just a full-blown dump truck, and you tow it behind a dump truck. So if you need to have a super high box cab, that's a dump truck.
Okay.
That's what they're currently being pulled, are machines similar to this. That's what's pulling them down the road. So you got to be big time. This thing is 10 foot to that exit tube. It's 10 foot from the ground. So it's got to get up into a dump truck. Because it can fill up a space that is so large so quickly, like any small box, it'll overwhelm that box.
Sure.
You have to have the right piece of equipment towing it to be able to make the best use of it. And it's crazy. Like, they will fill those up, and then they just unhook the trailer. The dump truck runs off to the dump site or wherever they're collecting all the leaves, dumps it, comes back, hooks back up to it, and keeps on going.
Wow.
Sometimes they'll have two trucks where they'll swap out. They'll unhook one. It'll run off. The empty one will back up to the debris loader, hook up to it, and just keep right on going until it fills up.
Wow.
I mean, there's so much leaves for these things to pick up, and they can pick them up in such a fast time with a machine of this size.
Well,
that's the way that we see it working successfully.
Well, and like you said, and there's dozens and dozens of companies around here like that would utilize a product like this, where they have back in the day, and you guys have seen it too. You're driving down some road, and you see the big old apartment complex that's or condo complex that you guys have in town, the big massive one, and there's 10 guys out there with 3 0-turns and baggers, 6 guys on leaf blowers, maybe, if they're smart, a hurricane by now. No guarantee of that, of course. But now, the last year or two, I'm noticing, there's a buddy of mine, DJ Aldrich. He's down in Sylvania, Ohio. Second-gen business, great company, really cool dude. They're the kind of guys, they'll have 2 hurricanes out there, 2 guys on leaf vacs, 1 guy on the debris loader, if you will, and they've got the multiple trucks, the multiple crews, the multiple everythings, but it's the working smarter, not just harder.
Exactly.
This is the probably the missing link that those type of guys and above need to be able to. This is probably the ironically enough, this is the bottleneck, is sucking up the leaves now.
It is. Yep. It absolutely is. It's much easier to move them with some of the equipment that's out there on the market than there is the equipment to get it sucked up off the curb. So yeah, trying to put something in that place to make the output match the input, or vice versa. The input of the leaves coming to the debris loader matching the output going into the trailer. This is that missing product that's there. We were taken aback too. Like, it's the industry is not shifted as fast as you would think. When we were out doing some of our voice of customer testing, even some of the guys that were running this, they had the dump trucks,
right?
But for some reason, they still had guys with backpack blowers and dragging tarps.
Yep. Yep.
You've got so many leaves here. You got like 15 guys walking around with backpacks. Like, hold on, we need to talk.
Yeah. Well, my friend of mine, Nick Carlson, he runs a company called Dawson Manufacturing. He says all the time when he's got this mulch product that can just spit out mulch like crazy from a dump truck, and he'll do demos for companies, and all the time, like after the first 10 seconds of demo, it's like all the executives or the VPs or the buying people for the larger outfits, like they cock their head, and he's like, Brian, every time it's like a cow looking at a new gate. They turn their head and they're all like, it does what? Like, it does that? And it's like, he's like, what? He's like, what? And he's like, notoriously, like, he goes, after demo, half of them still go back to wheelbarrows and pitchforks. And he's like, I just can't understand it for the life of me. And I'm like, that's wild, dude. And then the other half, they're like, we'll take 3, So it's just funny, the innovation in the industry, man. Like, if you don't, so many of you guys listen to Caleb Allman's podcast all the time. And it's like, if you don't figure out a way to mechanize and to increase productivity and efficiencies, the labor problem is not going to get solved anytime soon. Okay, folks, like people keep doing podcasts for years. Hey, when do you think it's going to get better? It's not. Mm-hmm. The world is changing more now than ever. And so for the 3 or 4 guys that you have on your crew that have stuck with you, do whatever you can do to keep them and to make them happy and to take care of them, of course. But you know what? Buying tools like this is the efficiency you need instead of trying to find 2 or 3 more guys. It's never going to happen. I was listening to a podcast the other day. The gentleman had 25 people working for him, and he downsized to 15. He's happier, and the company's more efficient and more profitable than ever. but because they're doing stuff just like this and so many other great innovations. So I'm convinced. I think it's going to be a home run for you guys. Let me ask you this. We'll probably button this thing up right here. Where can people learn more, find more? Are you guys going to have this machine at Equip Expo this fall?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be standing right up on side of it by myself in a night costume, just telling everybody about it with the dragon feet. No, we'll have one on the inside booth. We'll have one at the outside booth. You can find any kind of information you want about it out on BillyGoat.com right now. There's a video walk around that just got posted. We'll be doing a fall product video for it. And yeah, it'll be at Equip Expo. You can get information probably from any BillyGoat dealer. There should be leaflets there that you can go pick up information on. We sent out a bunch of mailers, advertising stuff. We sent out a bunch of that already. So
cool.
Go to your dealership that has BillyGoat, request information on it as well. If you don't want to check out the website, do it either way. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun this year because this is the biggest product we've probably ever produced. I know it is by far. And BillyGoat's booth space inside of Equip Expo is usually very crowded. So stuffing this giant machine in there, like, it's going to stand out. It's going to definitely have people come clamoring over like, holy crap, how'd you guys get this thing in there? So I'm excited
awesome.
to be standing there talking face to face with everybody who wants to know about the product and learning from the people who are doing this kind of work and getting more input about the machines and trying to help make your guys' business work better, work faster, and work smarter, not harder.
Amen. Well, we super appreciate the time. Super appreciate the industry update. It is really cool to see what you guys are putting together out there. Is this for everybody? No, we know that. But for the people that it is for, I think that is going to be one of those silver bullets that we're always trying to look for to help you guys out with growing your leaf game and just increasing your efficiency and productivity. So you guys check them out on the website. Check them out at the Equip booth. When they have an open house, maybe at your local dealer, like you said, maybe there's a demo that's running by. Let your dealer know that you're interested. So when this thing does make its tour, wherever you're at in the country, that they can, chase you down, give you a quick phone call, say, hey, we got this thing out in the parking lot. Hey, we got this thing. We're going to go take it to a job site. Come check it out. And that way you guys don't miss the boat. So we really appreciate the time, Brandon. Anything else that you want to button up with? But if not, appreciate the time. And this has have been really, really helpful.
No, it's been great. I appreciate the time to talk to you guys about it, and I hope you have a very successful fall cleanup season in front of you.
Yeah, amen to that, brother. Well, hopefully, as long as the 4-letter white word doesn't make its show its head too quickly here, we'll be just fine. But I can't complain about the white gold. But there is a lot of money in leaves too that I'd like to make. I never like leaving leaf cleanup money on the table. A lot of you guys know that. So, all right, guys, we'll button it up right here. Appreciate you so much listening to this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, guys. If you have any questions on this, reach out to the BillyGoat folks, email, call, text, carrier pigeon, smoke signals, whatever you guys need. They're always there for you. And then definitely swing by the Equip booth if you guys can. Tell them that you got to hear Brian and Brandon talk about the Leaf Dragon and maybe some of the other episodes or YouTube videos here, with the content that we're putting out. Let them know that their dollars are reaching all of you guys to help spread the word about this latest and greatest product from them. All right, guys, well, over and out here from this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. We look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Brian. Really quick, I just wanted to let you guys know that Launchpreneur Academy Live 2022 is a go, and tickets are selling out fast. One thing I want to help you guys out with is getting your business to the next level. That is my mission with all the content that we put out with YouTube, Instagram, the podcast, and so much more. Well, the best way to do it is to learn from some of the best in the industry, and in my opinion, that's going to be at Launchpreneur Academy Live this November 12th, Saturday. It's a one-day conference up here in Novi, Michigan. Over the years, we've sold tickets to these events and they always pack out. This year, I wanted to totally sell out the event by the end of September. Can you guys help me out? Can we do sold out September where you guys get your ticket? Last year, we sold 40% of our tickets in the last 3 to 4 weeks of the event, which we'll take it and we appreciate it. It'd be nice to know that we have the 400 tickets sold by the end of September and the event is sold out or close to being sold out months in advance. How about that? That way we're not sitting around wondering how many catalogs do we need, what's the food order going to be, and all that other fun stuff. Long story short, guys, one thing I say on the podcast a lot is some people treat a crumb like a feast and other people treat a feast like a crumb. Which one are you going to be? If you guys can help me out, I want to have you there. Get your ticket to LAL. Go to launchpreneuracademy.com/store. Go under the store section to buy your ticket and get one for you, get one for your foreman, maybe get one for your spouse, your girlfriend, your fiance, and come on up to Novi, Michigan and check out this one-day conference. We've got guys like James Mansky coming in, who's going to help you guys grow your business. Mike Andes, Nick Carlson, Paver Pete, Mark Mark Bradley, the founder and owner of LMN, and so much more. Guys, we'd love to host you up here in Novi, Michigan. Get your hotel rooms, get your tickets, come up there, check this thing out, and get your ticket here secured in the month of September. By the way, October 1st, the price does go up $50 to $249 a ticket, so why wait? Get your ticket today for $197, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.